I'm also known as the Oolong Drunk, and welcome to the season 3 premiere of Blissfully Tea Drunk With. We are doing this again. Set off the fire alarm the first time, but to commemorate, have a balloon full of confetti. We're gonna get this party started. You guys ready? I forgot to put the confetti in. Anyways, welcome. So to start the show, we have David's Tea all the way from Canada. Afterwards, we're going to get a couple of great bloggers on, and we're going to end the show with a great speech about unity and togetherness. So first, we see David's Tea here. We're going to get them on and talk about how they just make acceptance just a part of their brand and their culture. So we're going to get them on and talk about unity with them. Hello.
Oh my God. Hi, Cody.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, you? I'm so excited
Great.
to be here with you.
Well, thank you for joining. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having us. Actually, when your invite came over, we were really excited because I've been following you for quite a while. And as you know, a lot of our colleagues follow you, and you're such a beloved personality within the tea blogging and tea world. So I'm really excited that you are having us.
Oh, thank you for the compliments. And you guys actually caught my attention because I started my tea journey back in the very specific niche and very, in the very like snobbish side of tea. But you guys are always so inviting, and you guys are open to every kind of tea drinker, and that's why I was excited to have you on, because that openness and that acceptance that you guys have for everybody is just something that's very much needed right now in the world. And I'm always happy when I see your posts jump on, so inclusive of everybody. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today.
Perfect. That I love that we're here to talk about that because you touch on very important things that are important for everyone at David's Tea. Accessibility, diversity, being inclusive. I think that that's such big values that we've had since day one, and we want like everyone to feel welcome. I think that that's what sets us apart from other brands or other tea people. That when we first started, like when you went to a tea store, it was pretty intimidating. Like if you didn't know how to pronounce things, I would feel like personally I would feel really out of place. But here, like it doesn't matter what tea journey you're on or in what part of the tea journey you're on, for sure there's gonna be a tea for you.
So how do you guys tackle accessibility? Because kind of like what you're saying, everybody's in a different spot in their journey, but you guys make it easy for anybody from any angle to drink David's tea.
Well, thank you so much. That's a compliment. I'm glad that people in the industry feel that way because that's something that we strive for. We really want to make sure that we're speaking to different people, like I said before, and no matter where you are. So, for example, personally, I really like straight teas, what we call garden to cup, um, and a lot of people like flavored teas, and I occasionally drink flavored tea, so that's also why I love David's Tea. Because we have a tea for everyone. And I think that wherever you are, if you're new to tea and you've never known tea, we have a place for you to start. Or if you're like a tea aficionado, like many of us, like we definitely have teas for you if you like more like traditional teas or like what we call garden to cup. So I think that that's where we like to meet people where they are. You know, we're not forcing you, we're not putting you like on a path and being like, oh, you fit this path, this is where you start and this is where you have to go. I think it's like you do your own thing. Like tea is supposed to be an inviting beverage. I think that that's what we love about tea. It's that tea brings people together. It brings people from different parts of the world together, culturally different people. It's just a so many great conversations happen through a cup of tea, you know?
Now, I
So
have to say, garden to cups, that's something that I have here from you guys, that you guys
yes.
a little bit ago. And I was thoroughly surprised because it is very accessible for people who I guess you could call like a tea snob, but for people who drink a lot of flavored things, you guys included the cinnamon oolong, and that
Have
was
you tried it? It's one of my faves. I have it on repeat.
this be one of my favorite oolongs I've had in such a long time because it's natural and it's real cinnamon that's scented in it, but it's just you have the notes in the body of kind of like a straight leaf tea, so to speak, but the flavoring is just perfect with this. And I had to compliment you guys on your collection here.
This, oh my God, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy that you like it. I really love cinnamon oolong. I think it's one of the best teas that I've tasted. Well, right now I'm having Nepal White that I think that you also have. It's
right here.
But cinnamon oolong is so unique because it's similar to, you know, any jasmine scented tea. It goes to through a similar process. So there's no flavoring added. There's not like pieces of cinnamon. It's just the scented cinnamon. So it's so nicely balanced, and you really taste the oolong as well, the oolong base. It's so cozy. This is one of the teas that I really drink when I want to like focus or have a really beautiful conversation.
But I have to say though, because I even gung fu'd it in my Guy One, and for people at home who don't know, this is a brewing device that you can do tea in with multiple infusions. I have a Guy One too. Can we see that again?
That's my personal collection, so I don't. But this is a David's tea. But I like to like mix and match. So this is like a David's tea, like a matcha for a matcha bowl. But I feel like when I use my Gaiwan, I love pouring into here, and then from there pouring like into a smaller vessel, like I'm doing right now.
Well, the thing with like the cinnamon oolong, I was not sure how to go about it because a lot of scented teas don't hold up. They'll hold up a grandpa style infusion, but they won't necessarily hold up on gung fu. But the reason why this was surprising is because gung fu style, that was still incredible. I could not believe how well it held up.
How many steeps did you get to? Because this one holds really well. We are all really surprised.
Well, I'm very frugal, so I will get possible. My last infusion was 15 minutes, but that was like on infusion 12 here. So
wow. You really squeeze all the flavor out of it. I love that.
So one last question I want to ask you before we move on here on the show is, so I guess like not, this is like a loaded question because you guys are so open and diverse and accepting of everybody in every direction, but you guys make it seem so easy and so natural. And there's something that you guys do that I think other companies have trouble understanding or don't get, but it just comes so natural to you guys. You guys are diverse, open to everybody. You always are supportive of every minority group, but it just feels so natural coming from you guys.
I'm glad that, first of all, I'm glad that you feel that way, because this is something that I day in and day out work on. So I'm happy that that you're feeling it. And it's not only me, it's a huge group dedicated to ensuring that people are inclusive. Since day one, like I said, we were about being inclusive. We were about having that diversity. We were about sharing. We were about we had a platform once we were more established, and really sharing that platform. The more people drink tea, the more we know about different people. I think that that's what makes us very distinct, because a lot of the times there's a lot of like, I'm not saying in tea, because I think tea people are lovely, and I've met some of the nicest people in this industry through tea, but people seem to think that there's this weird rivalry, when in fact there's not a rivalry. And I'm talking about most of the tea industry that I know personally, we all just really want to share, really want to make sure people have access to like explore this amazing variety of flavor that you get from different plants by just steeping it in water. It's like mind-blowing that you can get that. So it's not about like, oh, this is me and this is how I do it. It's about really sharing with the community and connecting through this wonderful beverage that we call tea.
And it's so easy to find so many common things that we like together with tea. It's such a great staple, or great groundwork to start off of, to build up off of, to what else we have in common. And
I also want to talk to you about a few things, because I feel that you've really opened up in the last year, because you were so private prior, and I feel like you've really made a commitment to show yourself and to really stand up for that diversity and inclusion as well. So I just want to congratulate you for that, for taking that big step, and you're doing so great, Cody. We're rooting for you. I'm so happy.
I'm rooting for David's tea, and I have to ask real quick because I'm about to run over time here. Is that Lana behind you? I have to ask. You came prepared, yes.
I know my audience, Cody.
You know my audience. For those of you who don't know, I'm on a 6-year mission to have tea with Lana Del Rey. So anyone and any connection here.
I said I'm rooting for you, so I came prepared.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Nadia of David's Tea. It was such a pleasure to have you on, and thank you for everyone for watching. We're going to move on to the next part of the show, but thank you so much for joining.
Have a wonderful evening. Congratulations on the launch.
Thank you. You have a wonderful evening as well. Thanks.
Bye.
So guys, what a wonderful conversation with David's Tea. They do, like I said, such an amazing job of including everybody in every direction, and being together and inclusive with everybody is truly what tea is about. So before we go on to our panelists, I have to give a shout out, a quick plug to my sponsor, Grand Cru. They are my sponsor the second time in a row for the show. I am drinking one of their black teas myself. They are amazing. At the end of the show, I'll drop a coupon code below. I'll also tag them so you can go over there and check them out and drink tea from them. They're a Taiwanese tea company, and some of my tea wear today is from them as well. So if you see something from them, head in their direction and tell them I sent you. So next, we have an amazing panel of tea drinkers on today. We have the famous Nicole of Tea For Me Please. She's been tea blogging for almost 14 years. After that, we have Jen of Barefoot Tea Lady, and now she's a TikTok star for... And after that, we have Key to Teas, and they have been in the tea industry for so long. I can't wait to have all of them on, so I'm going to send the invites on right now, if I can find them. In the meantime, you guys below, comment what you're drinking, and we will see if we have any common teas together. So here, Nicole? There's Nicole.
Hello.
Oh. And I see Jen. Hello.
Hello.
And next we got Key to Teas coming on, and we're going to continue the conversation further. Hello.
Hello again.
So we got everyone on. This is such a great panel because it feels like Nicole and Jen, or you both are on every premiere that I do for this show. And it seems like since last time, Jen, you've blown up. You're a TikTok star now. We're lucky to have you in our presence.
No, I mean, TikTok has some amazing growth if you hit it just right, and I hit it just right. They really, really liked my Ostfriesian tea video. And I was really happy about that because you never know what's going to take off on TikTok, and I was very proud of that video.
And you know what the comments are going to do no matter what. It's such an entertaining thing to watch what goes on.
I've shared a few of those with you.
Exactly.
Most of the comments are very supportive, though. I was surprised by how many East Frisian people came on and said, oh my gosh, my grandmother used to make tea like this, or oh my gosh, my grandmother taught me how to make tea like this. And that was, good night, sweetie. That was bedtime in the next room. And that was like one of the most rewarding things that I'd experienced on TikTok.
And Nicole, you've been blogging you're coming up on your 14th year in tea.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that's a long time. That's like a massive chunk of years there.
It really, really is. I always say I met tea before my husband, so he knows what the priorities are.
Same here.
And Key to Teas, you've had such a huge influence in the world of tea altogether. I don't know if I can give you an introduction worthy of it, but you were the mastermind behind a lot of Tiavana.
Yeah, I was with Tivana for 14 years. So, yeah, you missed my session. Tivana's a successor failure. I'm sorry we didn't get to meet at the World Tea Expo, but I'm so excited to be here.
So, do you mind sharing with the audience what you did at Tiavana and why you're such?
Yeah. So at Tivana, I actually started out as a assistant store manager in a small store where Nicole is from, different county, but in Bergen County, Garden State Mall. And before that, actually, my tea career had already started because I used to be a line cook at the Tea Box Cafe at the now defunct Takashima in New York City. And anyway, it goes even further that I grew up in Japan in a tea producing country. So I grew up with enjoying shincha every year. Anyway, long story short, I had the opportunity to join Tivana in the stores, and then just all throughout the years, I went to the distribution center, the wholesale side of the business. I've helped open Mexico, and then anyway, just long story, but and then key was probably tea development, because I have a culinary background. So if you wanted to not like Tivana blends, I'm absolutely accountable. And if you like the pure teas, anyway, so all the way to the Starbucks acquisition, and then I led the Tivana brand through what I could do through Starbucks until 2020. And then I started my own tea e-commerce business. Okay.
So I don't think a lot of people who are now into tea, who are post Tiavana, I don't think they realize like how massive and Tiavana was, especially in
Are
the
we
West.
post Tivana? I guess we are.
Yes.
I'm old.
Yeah, I mean, post Tivana, I mean, actually, to be fully frank, Tivana still exists as a brand.
Right.
And it exists in those like sachets, so-called sachets, and you could buy them at grocery stores. But we all know that the heart of Tivana is not that. I'm just going to say that out loud. It is a specialty loose leaf teas, and we were the pioneer in terms of the retail space on making it known. And you know, I think I still take it personally because it was so, I mean, everybody who loves tea is going to take it personally, like whatever industry you're in, and excuse me, whatever realm you're in, whether you're a blogger, whether you're a importer, whether you're a blender, whether you sell tea, whatever. It's so personal because it you know, calls attention to our heart and soul. So yeah, anyway.
No, I was talking with Yunshan, who owns Valley Brook Tea in Washington, D.C. They just opened in like January of 2020.
Right.
And he was actually talking about how he really credits Tivana with opening up the U.S. market to better tea, to more traditional Chinese teas, and that a lot of the small distributors that are doing well in the U.S. now owe a lot of that to Tivana.
And it's crazy to think, too, for how massive they were, that a lot of people's tea journey started with Tiavana. Like,
well, not really, but
just goes to show how far time has come, I guess. I was a teenager when I worked at Tiavana. And now I'm going into my late 20s.
That's right. I mean, seriously, I shared in my presentation, but Tivana was the same generation as, actually, it came as the same generation as Rishi Tea today, 1997. And then also Honesty before they were bought out by
Coca-Cola.
They're
from my hometown.
Yay, Connecticut! What's that?
Oh, no, they were in Bethesda, Maryland. When they started producing bottled tea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I was a freshman in college, and I was in Latin class drinking a bottle of Honest Tea as my breakfast because I was a college kid. And I go, wow. And the TA is like, do you have something you'd like to share with the class? This tea is made like 3 blocks from where I grew up.
Yeah, so you understand how Honesty has changed its brand manifestation as well. Yep, that's right. And then Specialties was a wholesaler business, which also produced a lot of tea industry peeps, actually. One went to Adagio. I think Adagio is still open today. But anyway, so yeah, there's a whole realm. But it's the first, I mean, Cody, to your point, there was nothing unless it was like a Chinese or European, not even the Europeans weren't even in the market.
If you're not British, it was Twinings, and yeah, that's what I drank. So I grew up drinking tea, but I grew up drinking tea British style. And then we went to Epcot when I was a kid, and I learned about Chinese tea and Moroccan mint tea. And then when I was in high school, Tivana opened.
Yeah, so that's really funny. This is probably the never been told public story, but the founders of Tivana met at Epcot Center.
Yeah.
Thing to ask. So You and I had Tivana like in high school or out of high school. Nicole, how old were you? Like, were you also?
Hey, Nicole, how old are you?
It wasn't that long ago.
I started becoming a customer in my like early 20s, I would say. But I worked there for like 3-4 years.
And now moving on, because Tijuana, if I remember correctly, was open, but to carry on the conversation from David's tea, unity in every community and every hobby and every niche right now with post-pandemic and going into the stressors of what's going on in Europe right now. It just feels like there's such a need for togetherness and unity, more than what we've seen in our lifetimes, it seems like. So I want to open the question up to everyone here of why unity in the tea community is so much needed and what you've done to help create that togetherness. Because you've all done a lot to help bring people together.
I feel like I've taken more than I've given. I really feel like increasing the joint lives during the pandemic kind of really got me through, especially the early days. Because I switched jobs a couple of times during the pandemic, and in the early days I was still in the job that I hated. But I could look forward to being able to go on live, and Cody would drag me kicking and screaming onto live on Instagram.
Hi.
And, you know, being able to just chat with people, meeting Nazanin of Tea Thoughts, who lives close to me, and having tea friends in the area. I mean, being able to stay connected with people the same as I had been pre-pandemic and during the pandemic has kind of made that continuity so much easier for me. And I've tried to, you know, offer that to other people as well.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a conscious thing necessarily. I think it's just, we were, stuck at home and I couldn't go have tea with my friends in New York City like I would usually do. So that kind of transitioned to, I know we used to have like house party tea sessions and Instagram lives every day. But it was a really great time for like everybody to come together and kind of spend more time together, even if it was virtually.
Yeah.
So moving forward, because we are coming up now, so the next part of this panel, I'm glad I have you here, Jen, because you're like the human encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to tea. So that must be a great time for us to play a short game of true or false. So I had gathered
some definition of knowledge.
Well, I realized this could be for me because you're going to know if my facts are not right or not. So I was very careful to try and pinpoint.
I've only done that once.
Only one. And I was going to have another balloon to pop for us, but I'm not popping my other balloon.
No, don't pop the
Oh, no. Don't pop that one.
We need the balloon for the live. I messed up the confetti on this one, but who doesn't want a unicorn to join them in a game? I mean, she's sparkly. Who doesn't want a unicorn? Hi. So,
agreed.
So we have other balloons joining us, and next I have our facts, our true and false. I have 7 questions here, and we're going to try and do this within the next few minutes. So first fact is matcha. Are you guys ready?
True.
Yes.
And guys, in the comments, if you want to comment along and guess along with us, we'll give you a couple of seconds so you can comment your answers as well. And guys watching after the fact, just enjoy the ride with us. So the first fact.
If you're watching after the fact, make a comment with your guesses.
There you go, yes.
And boost Cody's engagement in analytics.
So first fact, true or false? Matcha is made by using sencha that was ground into a fine powder.
True.
Wait, you said sencha?
Tencha. Oh, I thought you said tencha.
He said sencha with an S.
Oh, okay, sorry. Oh.
So,
I'm sitting here like, did I not? She's got to be right.
well, she said the right answer, so the correct answer, you're right, it's false. It's made with tencha. Mostly everyone in the comments got it right. So next one, true or false? Chai tea originated in Assam, India.
False.
Chai tea.
I know it's kind of like a double negative. Chai means
I mean, I feel like chai tea originated in cafes in Oregon.
Yes.
Masala chai originated in the Indian subcontinent. I don't remember where the factory was, but
So it is false. Chai tea is rumored to be more than 5,000 years old. However,
yeah.
the first Malaysian chai tea recipes that were recorded didn't start appearing until the British set up tea farms in India, which started to appear in 1835.
Okay. But it is I mean, the beverage
But it
itself.
grew up around the factories as well as the farms. Because what it was is they would sell tea to the workers. So I did a whole blog post. Tea history is my thing. Y'all know that. So they would set up shop. So these tea sellers, the chaiwalas would set up shop near the worker centers, and they were trying to push the tea back on the workers to increase the tea company profits. But they were like, tea's really expensive, like tea. So they started mixing in the masala blends, the spices, the sugar, the milk, and they would boil it so they could use less tea leaves to kind of cut costs. And that is how masala chai was birthed, to stick it to the man.
Jen, this is why we have you on today, for the true and false game.
Anti-capitalist tea, but also capitalist tea.
Yeah.
Question, this might be a controversial question for some people out here, but the next question is true or false? White tea has no caffeine.
False.
False. Very false in some cases.
Okay, so we're on the same page here. Okay. Yes, the correct answer is false. White tea, the range can vary on how much caffeine it can have, to a little bit to, oh my God, there's a lot of caffeine.
Silver Needle, like really good Silver Needle, will wire me for the entire day.
And I've seen it before because I've spoken with people who ran tea houses, and they go with the idea if it has such little caffeine, you might as well say there's no caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you steep it for no time at all and you don't use very much leaf, that's true.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of it grew up, is that a lot of this sprung up from the suggestion that you steep black tea for 5 minutes, but you only steep green tea for 3 minutes, and you steep white tea for 2 minutes. But it doesn't mean the tea itself.
Also, lower temperatures too. They used to always tell us to brew white tea really low.
Oh, yeah.
We really, sorry, from the industry standard, though, we actually had to pass everything through the caffeine test through a lab, because that was the, so 0 to 10 milligrams is the range for white tea for 8-ounce cup, 175 degrees brewed up 5 minutes. Yeah.
But it's a very inefficient extraction process. So if you're drinking something Gong Fu style, you're steeping this. Sometimes you're steeping this for like half an hour, and you're getting all the caffeine. Okay, Cody wants to move on.
Sorry. So next, pu'er tea is a kind of tea that can be grown in every province in China. True or false?
False.
So, okay, we all seem to be on the same page on this one too. The answer is false. It can only be grown and called pu'er if it's grown in the Yunnan province in China.
Otherwise, it's just sparkling compost. I actually like pu'er tea.
It's fresh green tea until compost. There we go.
Well, some of it's not composted. Some of it is made into little balls.
So, next true or false question. Lipton originated in Scotland in the 1870s. True or false?
Kind of true.
Really? I didn't think it was Scotland.
Robert Lipton was a Scotsman.
Oh,
who started his tea company, and he was notable for being the only tea company in the British island who sourced all of his tea from what is now Sri Lanka.
Oh,
Correct.
but he didn't base his in UK? He didn't start his...
Scotland is in the UK.
Oh my gosh!
What I have is true. In 1871, Thomas Lipton opened his first tea shop in Glasgow, Scotland.
Yeah, he was a Ouija, but he got all his tea from Ceylon, which was notable at the time. It was
so I only have 3 questions left, and we'll see if we can get to it. Nicole should know this one.
So commoditized.
The tea dumped in the Boston Harbor during the Tea Party was compressed tea bricks. True or false?
False. I hate that people say that.
So
Also, it wasn't all dumped.
It is
Some of it was stolen.
It is false. It's true that it's false. And when the Boston Tea Party, 342 chests of tea from the British East India Tea Company was dumped into the harbor and was primarily green and black tea.
So there is actually some controversy now as to whether Bowie tea was black tea or whether it was just they didn't actually separate the Bowie black tea from the Bowie oolong tea.
And the interesting I found out,
they didn't know oolong was a thing.
No, oolong was a thing.
The British East India Company dissolved in 1874. Who lost all that tea, and that company lasted 101 years before dissolving.
I'm very happy that the British East India Company tea never got to trade Jimon tea.
So one of the second to last, Taiwanese tea was brought to Taiwan from Fujian in 1717. True or false?
The first part is true. I don't know about the year.
That's a trick question. What? Fujian? Fujian
Yes.
province?
That's why they do so many oolongs.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah, because there were I thought it was in the 19th century that there was the big rebellion and the people from no, that was a different province. Sorry, I have a friend whose family was from China and moved to Taiwan as refugees after a revolution, but I don't remember what century that revolution was in.
So the answer is true. It would be 1717 is the earliest documentation of it, but the Treaty of, I'm going to say this wrong, Tientsin in 1860 made tea Taiwan's top 3 exports behind sugar and camphor. So it took roughly another 60 years for it to really get more popular. So this next one is sort of a trick question. It's our last true or false. Are you ready? Let's go for it. So boba milk tea has become really popular in Western society and Western culture. However, milk tea originated, true or false, milk tea originated in England in the 1800s by then Queen Victoria. True or false?
Absolutely false.
Yeah.
It is absolutely false because I have read translations of primary documentation that lists a Qing emperor who drank milk tea in like the 17th century.
Are we all sticking with false? Comments are sticking with false.
It's like it's interesting because milk is not prevalent in Asian countries.
But milk tea was prevalent among the Manchurians after when they conquered. Yeah, no, it was actually this really
adding
weird
milk to
political
tea
situation
and milk
because they
tea are
had,
also
like,
different things.
Yeah, like there's like obviously Queen Victoria didn't make boba milk tea, but
So the answer is false. Documentation of milk and sugar being added to tea can be traced back to Taiwan from the 1600s, back when the Dutch colonized Taiwan.
But they were also served milk tea by I know Emperor Qianlong loved his milk tea, and he had 2 separate kitchens, one for fancy green teas for his Han subjects and one for his milk tea.
What a weird trajectory. So we get tea from China in Taiwan, milk tea made by the Dutch in Taiwan. It's kind of like this weird trajectory that covers a whole map for tea.
Well, there's some question as to whether the Dutch learned to put milk in tea from the Chinese. Well, from the Manchurian Chinese. I mean, because China is so many different cultures.
Well, I always assumed, like, from what I knew, China was largely lactose intolerant.
Yeah, most Asian countries. I mean, heritage.
So there are several tribes in the country that we know today as China that base a large amount of their diet on certain forms of milk. It's not necessarily cow's milk, but it is squirted from the mammaries of an animal, not like almond milk.
So that was our game of true and false. I think everyone pretty much got everything correctly on that. I was trying to keep score mentally, but I'm not talented, so I missed.
I think we all got everything right.
So everyone in the comment section, you guys did a fantastic job answering the questions. We have had an amazing panel today. Next, we're going to go on to the Vitier ceramics. all the way from the Ukraine. We're going to have a special message on peace from him. But before we bring him on, I would like to thank every single one of you panelists for joining me today. This has been fun. We should definitely do this again.
We will.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Thank you.
Bye.
So everyone in the comment section, and the next part of the show, as we say bye to everyone on the panel. Bye, guys. Was that not great? So I'm going to put you guys on a brief pause. You guys don't go anywhere. We're going to break out the next segment. So before we have our special message on peace, I'm bringing out a new segment that we're going to do very briefly. It's our next 2-minute segment where it's tea and music pairing. So towards the end of each episode, I will give you an album recommendation to listen to next time you drink tea, whether that be Gung Fu or whether that be grandpa style with your teapot. So we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Hello, welcome back. So in our segment of Tea and Music Corner, yes. So for this week's Tea and Music pairing, I'm going to recommend that you stream Crash by Charli XCX with you. Crash is a new album that just came out last Friday. It is a heavy 80s synth pop album that is great for listening to tea with. The great thing about it is it's nostalgic. The writing is fun, it's catchy, and it's lighthearted and fun for the sake of being fun. And plus, it's Charli, baby. That's her tagline. Yes, I know it's not Lana Del Rey. I know it's Charli XCX. But if it helps, Charli's also a fan of Lana, according to interviews. So it evens out. So I'm going to ask you guys in the comments section, have you heard Crash by Charli XCX? And if not, what album do you recommend this week for your tea and music pairing? So while you guys answer in the comments, we're going to get Bitter Ceramics on, and we're going to do a special message on peace before ending the episode. I see that he's in the comment section. I'm sending an invite to him to join now. So thank you guys for rejoining. I don't know what happened. None of the first part of the live is saved. Instagram pooped out on us. So if you were there live, thank you for watching. If you're watching after the fact, I apologize that most of the episode is not here. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on with Instagram. And for over 1.5 years of doing these, I have never had this happen before. So I will wallow in this later, but in the meantime, we have Bitter Ceramics on. They are all the way from Ukraine, and they are going to join us to give us a speech about why community and why peace with each other is so important. So I'm going to try and get them on, and we will try this again. I just sent them a request, and we should be going at any moment now. Hello.
Hi, friends. Do you hear me?
Hi.
Apologies, it's really dark here because it's in the middle of the night and we need to turn the light off because the aviation can correct the fire because of light. Okay, it was. Yeah.
Before we go on, why don't you turn your light off? We would rather keep it safe.
It's a rule during the wartime. The enemy aviation can correct their fire, guided by the light in the windows. So
Great.
just
Why don't you turn off your light? We can still hear you. I'd rather you turn off your light.
apologies. Do you hear me?
No. There's nothing to apologize for. I'd rather you turn off your light. We don't want you to be seen or caught.
Yeah, we just can't turn on the light. So I just sitting by the candle here because
Is it
can.
okay to blow out the candle for now? I'd rather you stay safe. All right, so you're safe right even with the candle. I'd rather you turn the candle. Can you blow the candle out? I'd rather you not be caught.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
The candle is all right now. So, yeah.
Okay, so we'll keep this short then. So for everyone who doesn't know, you've been a major part of the tea community for so long, and you've made some of the most beautiful teaware within our reach. And lately, you've been displaced from your home. And you've been displaced several times, and you've been on the run for over a month now?
Yes, it's a month already since the war started. Yeah, and maybe a little, 2 days less since we left our home in studio
So
there. Yeah.
what was going on in that first day? Because it's
Mm,
crazy to think one day here's normalcy, the next day everything is not. What?
yes, I even put the firing on that evening before 23rd of February, and like the next morning we were awakened by the a little trembling on the ground and sound of explosions. When we looked in the window, we saw a far smoke on the side of the military airport. It was in 8 kilometers from us. And when I turned my phone on, I saw a lot of messages from all the friends, like the war is started, stay safe, friends, and let's go communicate it. We made several calls to our relatives, to parents, and understood that this shit is started here, like the most, mm, in the most bad way.
So
Mm.
at any point before that first morning where everything happened, did you have any idea of what was that anything that could happen? Like, was there any warning?
Yeah, yes, actually, mm, we we kind of expected that, but because it was a lot of threatening from Russia and that stuff, like chantage thing, and we already expected that something bad is coming, but no one, like, the one thing when you expect and imagine it, and the totally other thing when you see explosions and see your neighborhoods are being detonating because of direct artillery shells. So when you see it in person, in real, it's totally like another thing.
So you used to regularly go on Instagram Live and do videos from your wheel when making pottery. Is all of that gone?
Uh, what exactly? What's gone?
The stuff you used to make pottery with, like your studio, all that's gone.
Yes, our house and the studio was part of our house, so it's all gone. It's on the occupied territory, and my father left there in our village, and yesterday he said that they started shellings directly on the area where our house is situated. So we really don't know if it still stands.
So
Mm.
you guys were displaced and you guys kept traveling and you guys are safe, which I'm glad for. But how can we as a tea community, someone in the comments is commenting that you're offering digital photo sales to help
Oh,
assist
yeah.
with you, correct?
Yeah. Mhm.
Where's the best way that we can find this and how can we show support for you? What is the best way?
There is a link in our profile. You can find all the useful info in there. There are several funds, governmental and non-governmental volunteering funds to support Ukraine. One of them for Ukrainian army, because it's important for us. Those are people who defend us. The second one is for defensive ammunition. It's for those who don't will to like support army or military things. You can support our defense, like the ammunition, like armored vests for volunteers who supply food and medicine in the areas in which Red Cross doesn't have access. And also there are several shelters. You can also donate to them, or you can donate directly to us, because we share those funds among those volunteers who we know directly, and like sending emergent money to even our relatives or people from our community who need to move fast or just need to something to be delivered really rapidly, and even to hospitals. We share those, apologies, it's the candle. We share those money with hospitals, so there is a lot of way to help. Yeah.
What a lot of people don't understand, because here in the Western universe, a lot of people are, and it's a right versus left. Here, even a lot of people in the West have included have incorporated their politics into the situation, and they're arguing and fighting what's the right side, the wrong side. But then there are people like you who are displaced, and there's thousands of people who are negatively impacted on such a way that we will never understand. And they start to lose sight in arguing and being against each other about why it's important that we are together.
This is the worst thing to do, is to argue because of some ideology interpretations. Because right now people lose their homes, people lose their lives, people get injured because of this war. And you can clearly see who attacked who. It doesn't start it from Ukraine, it started in Ukraine by a direct invasion. And I witnessed it with my own eyes, and I don't lie. So you can keep arguing, but just it doesn't worth of people's lives and ruined homes, really.
Well, for showing support so we can support you directly, you have been such a friendly member of the tea community, and we have all followed you for a long time and have been such huge fans of your art. And it's devastating because so many tea people are, and they didn't choose to be in this. They didn't pick a side. They were just thrown in it, and there's nothing that you could have done to avoid being in this situation. I'm going to link your page and the best way that we can donate to you to help you and your beautiful family make this out as safely and as quickly as possible. In the meantime, I would prefer you stay safe. I'm going to go ahead and get you off, but I do want to say thank you for joining and telling us about your situation. And we would just like to say thank you for being here, and thank you for talking today.
Thank you very much, friends. Really, thank you. It's really important to stay united and to be people. Really, this is the main thing.
Exactly.
Thank you for your support.
Please be safe. Stay safe.
We'll do our best, but we need to end this to be safe. Yes.
We do. And keep us updated and let us know that you're safe as well. Keep us.
We'll do our best.
Alrighty, thank you.
Bye. Glory to people of the world, and glory to Ukraine. We'll stay strong.
Stay strong.
I don't know how to turn this off.
So I want to give a final and last message. Everybody in tea has a commonality, and that is tea. We have been through a pandemic. We have been through 2 elections where everybody on every angle was against each other. We have one of our own. We have many of our own in our community who are out there struggling to survive in this, and whose lives are uprooted, whose homes are gone because of this. Moving forward as a tea community, this is now the time to stand together and be supportive. Now's not the time to be vitriol. Now's not the time to start hating each other. Now is the time that we are going to be together, because tea is not for one person, it is for all. And moving forward, we need to do our best to be united and to not let hate, to not let our personal politics interfere. But we need to do our very best to support our friends who are out there, who are scared and worried that they may not see another day. I want to thank Bitter Ceramics for coming on to the show and for giving us that short window of insight. All of us are more than lucky to be able to get to talk to you. And moving forward, next week will be Blissfully Tea Drunk with the 2nd episode. Look out for a post on that. For everyone who's joined me for the past hour, thank you for watching from home. Sorry that there was issues earlier and we can't go back and watch it. We will worry and talk about that later. We'll see you for next week's episode, but in the meantime, I will link ways that you can help support our friends in the Ukraine, and the best way that we can show love and support to them, and just do our best to make sure to keep in touch with those, our loved ones over there, and make sure that they're still staying safe and keeping everyone updated. My name's Cody. I will be on next week. We'll see you then. Thank you, everyone.